Critical Role Recap Season 2, Episode 17. So on this week's episode, we went to the Harvest End Festival. It was going on all across the city. The Mighty Nine just kind of wandered around and ate some food, drank some mead, took part in some different carnival games, like throwing a sack over their heads, arm wrestling, the ball and cup game, the cup switching game. Yasha, and also the strongman, like, hammer ring the bell kind of game, but instead of ringing a bell, it was like a lever that would push over a giant boulder if you hit it hard enough, basically. Which Yasha won and got like 43 gold from it. And then Jester immediately won it after that, and they put 5 more gold in there. And she immediately won it. And so then they like shut down the stall for a bit and made sure everything was okay and that there wasn't some weird trickery that had happened that allowed them to win so easily. Yasha also took part in a arm wrestling competition in which she beat the reigning champion in a very long battle, just pure strength checks over and over. And she was approached by 2 different military entities trying to recruit her after she proved her strength. And then they wandered around, met a few people, and finally made their way to the victory pit where this battle was supposed to be taking place, this competition. When they got there, they finally learned what the competition is, which it was going to be pitting them in a gladiatorial sort of games against monsters that had been captured and brought in specifically for the purpose of these games for them to fight. And so it was going to happen in 3 rounds where the teams would go in separately, fight the monsters, and if they won, they would advance to the next round. Whatever teams beat the 3rd round will win 2,000 gold. And so if whatever team lasts the longest. So whichever team wins will get 2,000 gold, and if both teams or if multiple teams happen to beat the 3rd round, they'll split the pot. So there were 4 teams total in this bout that they were having today, including the Mighty Nine. So they had 3 other competitors basically that they're going against. Every team made it through the first round, including the Mighty Nine. The Mighty Nine did get beat up a little bit. They ended up fighting a giant thing with like tentacles for arms and a giant tentacle with eyes on it as a head kind of thing. It tried to eat them. It diseased a couple of them and grabbed them up and did a lot of damage per hit, but they managed to take it down without getting knocked down. Jester was able to cure the diseases off of the 2 people who did get diseased. Yasha had actually used most of her rages. By this point, by this fight, she had used her last rage because she had raged multiple times earlier in the day for the carnival games in order to get advantage on them. So she was out of rages by the 2nd round. And in the 2nd round, 2 teams fell out. They all died, but then were quickly resurrected, and the beasts that were alive were taken care of. They were resurrected by the clerics that were off to the side. So no one's dying, but, getting knocked unconscious and then being brought back from the brink. The team whose leader is the leader of a mercenary band, the Stubborn Stock, which is one of the groups that had tried to recruit Yasha after the arm wrestling competition. They did just barely manage to make it through the 2nd round, and the Mighty Nine made it through the 2nd round as well. They fought 2 like frost wolves, I think, basically, who used conal frost breath attacks that did quite a lot of damage. Caleb was able to use his cat's paw to bind one of the creatures for its entire turn, which helped them out a lot. So they were able to kill the one wolf while the other one was CC'd. It actually worked out really well. They managed to get away without anyone getting knocked down again, and just use a prayer of healing to heal everyone up to roughly full. I think some people are still a little on the low side, like maybe half health or something though afterwards. Everyone has taken damage at this point except for Not. So they all healed up. The one other team also got through the 2nd round. And then we got to the 3rd round where the Mighty Nine were trying to make a plan. Like, Not kept suggesting that they go stage up at every door and hold an action so they can get some free attacks off them immediately when it comes out. But that would spread out the group a lot and split them up. And so there was a lot of kind of back and forth, and then they finally just decided to go basically to hold positions near the middle, to be near each other, but not completely stacked on top of each other. while Knot refused and just kept standing by the door. Luckily, nothing came out of Knot's door because she probably could have been one-shot by what did come out, which was a hill giant. A hill giant came striding out on the field, roaring and pissed off, and it looked like it had been intentionally aggravated with like thorns or spikes stuck into its side to piss it off and make it even more like bloodthirsty and crazed. So he stomped his way onto the field, and that's where we ended this episode. So next week we'll pick up immediately with this final fight against the hill giant. So this episode, the first half of it was entirely just kind of messing around with carnival games and having fun. And then the second half was almost entirely combat. So it had a really nice mix. I forgot to mention, just before the arena combat started, someone came running in to talk to one of the officials who the Mighty Nein had signed up with, and went off into a corner of the room to discuss it. Not managed to sneak over a little closer, but rolled a really bad perception roll, so only got a few bits of the conversation, but basically heard that war has been officially declared by the king against the Jorhassian Empire. The official said, let's not announce it yet. Let's let this festival continue and not ruin everyone's day, basically, and we'll announce it tomorrow. So the Mighty Nein is privy to the fact that war has commenced, but it won't be announced until the day after. But yeah, that was pretty much it. There was good combat and some nice funny moments during the carnival games. And then next week we have to look forward to this big hill giant fight, which if they win, then they have a shot at 2,000 gold, which is a fair amount of gold. And I think it's pretty unlikely that they'll have to split that pot, because the stubborn stock, the only other group that made it through the second round, got pretty beat up. Like, they had multiple people get knocked down, and they just very narrowly won the second round. So if the Mighty Nein is able to win this round, they will get the 2,000 gold on their own, most likely. But if they don't win it, then there's also a really good chance that they'll just split it with the stubborn stock, because I don't think the stubborn stock is going to beat the third round. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next week.